Hello and warmly welcome to Cross Christian News. My name is Paul Anomah-Kordieh and God bless you for joining us today. And to our first story, where the former presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel K. Asante, has urged the newly commissioned ministers of the church to take time to meditate and reflect on what God is doing in the 21st century Ghana. According to him, God is dynamic and he is not insensitive to time, place, and history. Reverend Professor E.K. Asante was speaking at the Commendation and Commissioning of Ministers at the Most Reverend Professor K.D. Memorial Church at Adringano. The Commendation and Commissioning of Ministers at the Accra Diocese took place at 3 different locations. In all, 59 people were commissioned. Speaking at the Most Reverend Professor K.D. Memorial Church at Adringano, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel K. Asante urged the ministers to continue to learn and abreast themselves with the happenings around them in order to serve the people better.
God we serve is a dynamic God. He's not a static God. So he's the God of history. And such God cannot be considered in static terms. He was, he is, and he will be. He was, he is, and he will be. That is why we say that he's an eternal God. He's an eternal God. The immutable God, the unchanging God you and I serve is a historically dynamic reality whose agenda, in the sense of what he does, cannot be static. All I'm trying to say here is that the God whose ministry you are participating in is not insensitive to time, place, and history.
He thus encouraged them to pray to God to open their spiritual and intellectual sight.
Pray that the Lord will open your spiritual and intellectual sight, that we may see. The Lord is saying, what do I need to do for you? That I may see, that I may understand, that I may see what the historically dynamic God is doing in my time and identify with his inclusive and holistic agenda, that I may participate in it. My message to you today is that it cannot be job as usual. So your prayers and our prayers should be, Lord, open our eyes that we may see what you are doing in our time, in order that we may participate in it.
Amongst the 59 ministers were 6 women and 1 visually impaired person. We say congratulations to those new ministers. And the General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensah Otabil, says there is power in the encouragement of a father. He is therefore urging fathers to encourage their children when they take the right steps. Pastor Mensah Otabil was speaking at the ICGC Christ Temple in a sermon titled The Good-Hearted Father.
Power in the encouragement of a father. Mothers encourage. Mothers can say 1,000 words of praise to a child, and they are meaningful.
Pastor Mensah Otabil, in his message titled The Good-Hearted Father, enumerated the qualities of a good-hearted father. Using the story of the parable of the prodigal son in Luke chapter 15, he said a good-hearted father provides for his children and builds an inheritance for them. According to him, a good-hearted father also, amongst other things, trusts his adult children to take responsibility, knows how to reason with his children when they disagree with his decisions, and also encourages his children when they take the right decisions.
One word of praise from the father is far more powerful. There's something about a father's encouragement and his words that allows children to soar and to rise and to do great things. Fathers, you have to encourage your children. And when they've messed up and they are coming back, encourage them. When they are taking the right steps, encourage them. This father had an encouraging heart.
Meanwhile, the International Central Gospel Church has begun its 40 Days of Power. 40 Days of Power is an annual 40 days of prayer and fasting by the International Central Gospel Church. Speaking ahead of the fast, the General Overseer of the church, Pastor Mensa Otabil, gave some practical guidelines for the fast, saying they should not be legalistic about it.
Sometimes people wonder, what if I do this? Have I broken my fast? If I brush my teeth, have I broken my fast? If I take my medication or a cough syrup? Don't be legalistic about those things. God is looking at your heart. And there are some things that you have to do necessarily. Sometimes you have to take medication or you have to take something just to keep your body in good shape. Please don't be very legalistic about it. And then sometimes, when you're fasting, you forget yourself, and before you realize there's some food in your mouth. My advice is just stick with the one in your mouth, swallow it, and continue your fast. So don't say, I've broken my fast. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I just took this. I've broken my fast. You haven't broken it. You're continuing. So just finish with what is in your mouth. Don't add more to it. Just stay with it and continue with the fast. Don't be legalistic about it. God understands your heart. He understands our human weaknesses, and you can still continue the fast if you make a little mistake like that.
This is Cross Christian News, and now to some other stories where the director of the Institute for Christian Impact and a research fellow at the Akrofi Chrysler Institute of Theology, Mission and Culture, Reverend Dr. Femi Adeliye, says Africans are under significant pressure to renounce who and what they are and embrace foreign goods, values, and mindset. According to him, this is not only seen in politics and at the marketplace, but also at the church. Dr. Adeliye was speaking at the 13th Kwame Bediako Memorial Lecture. The Kwame Bediako Memorial Lecture is a series of lectures instituted in the honor and memory of the founding rector of the Akrofi Chrysler Institute of Theology, Mission and Culture, ACI. The theme for this year's lecture is The Gospel and Christian Witness in the Public Sphere, Perspectives from the Thought of Kwame Bediako. Reverend Dr. Femi Adeliye, who gave this year's lecture, said, Christian witness is rooted in our God-given identity. He therefore bemoaned how the minds of Christians in Africa are constantly challenged to embrace Western answers to questions which, according to him, are often irrelevant to our context.
We are under significant pressure to renounce who and what we are, to embrace foreign goods, values, and mindsets are seen not only in politics or the marketplace, but also in church. Not only are our streets increasingly littered with leftover, used, and discarded goods from foreign lands, despite the abundance of natural resources God has endowed us with, but our minds are also constantly challenged to discard ours and to embrace Western answers to questions that are often irrelevant to our context. The recent conversation and disputes on human sexuality in relation to our cultural understanding remains a challenge
Dr. Adeliye, however, said Christian witness in the public sphere in Africa is costly. According to him, it is costly to insist on doing things both by the rule of the scriptures as well as the rule of the land.
The fear of unpleasant consequences of being faithful to values of the kingdom of God. It is costly in our context to insist on doing things both by the rule of the scriptures as well as the rule of the land. Life often seems easier for those who cut corners in business, those who give brown envelopes to be promoted or posted to preferred locations, or even those who compromise sexual integrity to make it in life, than it is for those who insist on integrity in the public sphere. The fear of demotions or suffering in any way remains a concern for those who would do right.
And before we go, here is a good news for the gospel music industry in Ghana. Diana Entry Hamilton has become the first female artist to win the VGMA Artiste of the Year award. Here is a report.
Diana Entry Hamilton has become the first female gospel artist to win the Artiste of the Year award at the 22nd edition of the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, VGMA 2021.
Let's see who and who are in this category as we wait for the announcement. Take a look.
The VGMA was held on Saturday, 27 June 2021 at the Accra International Conference Center, where she took home 4 awards, including the Artist of the Year award.
Is Kitty here? Are you coming back? Because Diana Hamilton will not permit you to come back.
Wow! And yes, we have the first artist winning the overall Artiste of the Year. History has again been made tonight with Diana Hamilton at Dome. Indeed, it is grace. Congratulations.
Hamilton first came into the limelight of the gospel music industry in the year 2007. Her hard work since then has paid off and won her many admirers. She was nominated in 6 categories of award and won the Best Gospel Song of the Year award, Best Gospel Artist of the Year award, Most Popular Song of the Year award, and the Topmost Artist of the Year award.
Thank you. God richly bless you. This is the doing of the Lord. It is marvelous in our sight. God bless everybody. Thank you. Have I said everything? Have I?
Yes, congratulations. Wow. Diana Hamilton.
CPH, we did it!
Diana Entry Hamilton is the second gospel artist after Joe Mettle to win the Artist of the Year award.
It was you, my lawyer in that courtroom. Hey, it was you, my soldier on that battlefield. So the essence of my faith is centered on your grace. Yes, Christ the Lord.
And that's it for Cross Christian News. My name is Paul Anomah-Kordieh. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share our YouTube channel. You can also like us on Facebook, Cross Christian Network. Cross Christian Network, if it's for Jesus Christ, then we are for it.